So a huge welcome to the Big Promise workshop. We're delighted to be sharing one of Race Equality Matters solutions to tackle race inequality. Thank you for all your time this morning during what we can assume, and we're seeing in your chat, a very busy Black History Month and an important month. So if we go to the next slide, please. I'm Javed Thomas, co-founder of Race Equality Matters, along with fantastic Raj Tulsiani of Green Park. I'm also the co-founder of the Collaboratory, which creates collaborations to tackle societal issues that matter most. So a big project at the moment is looking at the race agenda. And today joined by the wonderful Donna Robertson, project manager at Race Equality Matters. So very lucky that she's joining us today on this one. In today's session, we're going to cover why the Big Promise initiative is needed and go through the key steps and how to do it right guide. So as you can see, there's 3 phases and 7 steps, and we'll briefly go through that during the session. Before we start, the next slide, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all our partners and funders, especially Green Park, huge support for this and making it possible, as well as Lifetime Visionary Partners, BT, and founding partners, Aviva, Data Management Association, HS2. Their support means you're able to access the resources for free. We didn't want there to be a barrier to tackling race inequality. So by their support, we're able to do this. Obviously, as a not-for-profit, we are very keen and indeed of further funding to keep this work going. So if your organization is interested or want to find out more, then please do get in touch. A bit of housekeeping, we'll be recording this event so you can access it later or share it with some colleagues, which people have asked for. If you have any questions along the way, please do put them in the chat. And I've got Claire in the background, who'll be helping answer some of that and support you. Your sound will be auto disabled throughout the event until we go to, we're hoping for 3 discussion groups. Please feel free to tweet, post social media content. You know, we need to get the word of this out there, and hopefully at the end of today's session, you'll see Big Promise. You know, organizations should really focus on it. Next slide. Today's session will be fast-paced, and we're trying to make it as interactive as possible in this remote world. We'll start with a quick poll, and then we'll introduce you to Race Equality Matters and why the Big Promise was created. Then Donna will cover, as we mentioned, the 3 phases and 7 steps. We have 3, due to popular demand actually, collaborative discussion groups where you can learn from each other. We tell you what's coming up in the future, a final poll and close. We're looking to do like 11:15. So bear with us throughout this. So before we start, a quick poll, if Claire can release it, please. So 3/4 of you have not downloaded a Big Promise workbook yet. So Claire will put that link in there. And as I said, Don will be going through the guide with you so you can see how it helps. How well do you think your organization tackles race inequality? So, you know, positives are fairly well to really well, 27%, but, you know, we could argue, you know, 33%. So 1 in 3 of us think not enough or not at all. And then, you know, nearly half a little. So, not as much progress as we would all hoped 12 months ago when there was a lot of hope. Have you noticed much change in the organization tackle race equality during the last 12 months? A little, a fair amount, and a great deal is not too bad. Question 5, do you feel leaders are committed to tackling race inequality? 61%, so that's positive. You know, I think 18 months ago, that would have been a different score. A third of us unsure. Question 6, do you feel leaders and managers are confident in talking about race? And yeah, if you look at that, only 18% of us feel comfortable or very comfortable. I think that says a lot. It's something that's surprised me. Maybe I'm being a bit dumb there, but yeah, it's this lack of confidence talking about it maybe is a reason why it's avoided. I'm not saying it's an excuse compared to, say, gender and other issues. And how important do you think it is for all employees to play a part in tackle race inequality? Look, 82% vital. And I think that's where Big Promise was born on that side. And do you think your organization encourages all employees? You know, more than half think no. So we do think that's a solution or will help, but not everyone does it. Has your organization signed a race charter? A third of us are aware of it. The rest know or are unsure. So again, a lot of race charters have been done, but they haven't been shared with the organization. Okay, so if we can move on to the next slide, please. Thank you for that. And we'll share some of these results with you after the event. A bit of background. about Race Equality Matters. It's a not-for-profit, and it aims to be a catalyst to move organizations and individuals from conversations to meaningful action that has impact. It's all about action and impact. As you may hopefully know, we create concepts and solutions, but they're done in collaboration with those with lived experience of race inequalities. Everything we're sharing with you today is being co-created by employees across the whole of the UK, contributing to it. The solutions have been tested and challenged, and the key is to help organizations make the impact we all want to see and indeed feel. So just on the side, you can see Race Equality Week, which is in February, should be in your diaries. It's always the first Monday of every February. We've got Safe Space, the Big Promise while we're here today, and Safe Space, the Tea Break, which hopefully some of you may know about. And then My Name Is something we'll be launching really soon. It's kind of available now, about the issue of getting people's names wrong. And I'm sure I've got a few of your names wrong at the beginning. So what we're trying to create a campaign is where we phonetically spell all our names, or ask people, so we get it more right. So like Thandie Newton, it's actually Tandue, also Tandiway, sorry, and Sade. So as you can see on this thing, so it's a really important campaign. We'd love you all to sign up for it. And we're asking organizations to get all their employees, allow their employees to have it on their email footers. So the Big Promise is a UK-wide initiative where organizations and their employees commit to a promise from a bespoke Magnificent Seven to deliver real impact on race and equality in their workplaces. We believe if you make one promise, it will make a massive impact to everybody. So we'd just like to share a quick video. Nish.
The Big Promise is a UK-wide initiative where organisations and their employees commit a promise to deliver real impact on race inequality in their workplace. Race Equality Matters Community has reviewed 15 charters with over 200 commitments that are measurable and will create meaningful change, from which we have identified bespoke sets of Magnificent Seven promises for board members and executives, senior leaders, allies, and ethnic minority employees. We also have the Big Promise Guide. This guide, co-created with those with lived experience through research, it provides step-by-step support. The guide consists of 3 phases and 7 steps. The benefits of the guide are clear accountability, clear and transparent aims, simple but effective approach, transparent and measurable commitments, and an opportunity to hold senior leaders to account.
we'll give everyone access to the video. People have been sharing it with their HR, their EDI groups, their race networks, or even up the table to bring together. I think it's really important, you know, from a whole range of commitments out there in charters and everything, these are the best 7 that people with lived experience have chosen for the 4 different groups we mentioned there, you know, senior leaders, board members, allies, and ethnic minority colleagues. So very proud of the people that have helped us on this one. So we've created a step-by-step guide for those with lived experience, and it says based on research. It's in 3 phases with 7 key steps. It is a guide, so feel free to adapt it for your organization as you see fit. The guide will help explain why each step is necessary. It's really important. This ended up having 7 steps. There is a reason for each of the 7 steps. There was initially maybe, I think, 4 or 5, and then people said it won't work in our organization without steps, say 6 and 3. So that's why it's 7 steps. There are green boxes highlighting ideas to consider, and there's also checklists to sum up key actions for each step. So hopefully it's a really user-friendly guide. Why a guide? More than 80% of people have been asking for one. It provides tools, skills, and guidance to enable it to work in your organization, no matter what organization you are. So I'm now going to hand you over to the wonderful Donna Robertson, who will take you briefly through the 7 key steps.
Fantastic. And good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. So we just need to, Nish, if you could just skip through a few slides, that would be great to get me to my side there, and this one. Brilliant, thank you. So we're just going to start our journey at phase 1, which is all about finding the right people. So the first step is to find a project lead, and it's best to choose someone who's really passionate about race equality and someone also who can motivate others to join in, and that could be yourself. And the fact that you're here today means that you're passionate about this. So that's fantastic. So the video we just featured in the How to Do It Right workbook, which you can download from the website, are really useful tools to help you introduce the Big Promise to them if it's not yourself. And we'd recommend that the project lead might also want to consider setting up a task and finish group to help them deliver the Big Promise, so they're not doing everything by themselves. Next slide, thank you. The project lead's role is to secure a senior sponsor. They're going to work with them to gain senior leadership buy-in. We'll explain more about that later. Decide when to hold the Big Promise Day and promote it. Galvanize colleagues to participate. So, for example, they might liaise with colleagues in HR, D&I, staff networks to do this, and follow up on and publicize the progress that's been made. So, next slide, thank you. So we move on to step 2 of phase 1, and research tells us that having a senior sponsor on board is a really, really critical success factor to any initiative. And that's why we recommend the project lead engages a champion, again, someone with passion for race equality, someone who's motivated to make change happen, but also someone who's able to influence at a senior level. Next slide. So the sponsor's role is going to be to publicize and promote the Big Promise at all levels, including senior management, discuss progress with the project lead and support them, authorize necessary resources, and commit to their own Big Promise and talk about it at every opportunity. So next slide. So when you have your project lead and your sponsor on board, you move on to step 3 of phase 1, and that's about getting senior leadership buy-in. Now, this is really, really important because they have the power to make change happen. They'll also have the influence to engage staff and encourage people to get involved, so that they're a key part of this process. So over to you now, Javed. Thank you.
Thank you. So as Donna said, it's finding the right people, absolutely crucial. So we said it's going to be interactive. So we're going to split you all up into small little groups of 6 or 7 people to collaborate. So in a minute, you'll automatically be placed into a group for about 9 minutes, where you have an opportunity to share ideas and thoughts from each other. discussion topic is how would you go about engaging the right people? So how do you get these right people? And, you know, we can get different ideas. We know some organizations find it easy, some find it difficult, but let's learn from each other. The group I was in was very, very interesting. You know, a mix that some people got quite established and will find it quite easy to pull these groups together, and others, you know, it's a struggle. But, you know, that's the idea. And hopefully we've all learned something that we can try and take. And the big promise will be a tool. What I was going to say, if people can, for just next 20 seconds, just write one line or something in the chat about, you know, what's worked for you for engaging key people. Just, you know, if you could just put something in chat, and then we'll share this with you all after, so you can sort of see, oh, this is how organizations have gone about it. So in the chat, just a one-liner or something of how you've managed to engage key people. Okay, so what I will do now is hand you back to Donna for phase 2.
Thanks, Javed. So we're now on step 4, and so now you've got your team and your champions in place. You're ready to prepare and go live, and this is step 4. So the guide's going to give you tips and suggestions to help you do this, and we've also created downloadable toolkits, which include postcard templates, and as Javed said earlier, Magnificent 7 promises for, next slide, board or C-suite, next slide, senior leaders, allies, and for ethnic minority colleagues. So step 5 is of phase 2 is all about ensuring you get as many people as possible to make a promise. The project lead and their team will start creating a big buzz, and they'll be communicating across the organization and potentially further. Social media, the internet, your internal newsletters, staff and team meetings, displays on your premises if you're back in the offices, and your staff networks could be great promotional channels to help you spread the word. So next slide. So in summary, the key to creating a big promise buzz is to develop a campaign to get everyone excited about making their big promise, explain what the big promise is so everyone gets behind it, share the promises and how to get involved, encourage participation by name checking senior colleagues that are involved, and talk about the big promise at every opportunity. And also, if you have a big promise day, remind your colleagues when the day is going to be so they can prepare in advance. So next slide. So step 6 of phase 2 is about people making their big promise. And as we said, we've tried to make getting involved as easy as possible. So the downloadable resources include the Magnificent 7 promises I mentioned just before, and 4 promise postcards that can be printed. And again, you've got a set for C-suite exco, board members, senior leaders, allies, and ethnic minority colleagues. So when you go there, you just need to check the box that identifies you when you download the resources, and then simply tick the promise that you want to make. That's a very quick and easy way of doing it. When you've downloaded the postcard, take a photo as beautifully modeled by Javed here, or you can also do a handwritten promise as well. And then share your postcard and promises through intranets, social networks, and social media, just to get the word out there and to make that real commitment. Here are some examples of promises that have been made. There's quite a few there. And also we wanted to share a short video featuring a few Unison employees who've made their big promise. And now Unison showcased their big promises during Race Equality Week in February this year. So Nish, if you could just play the video now, that would be great. Thank you.
Hello. Behind the mask, I'm Ros Norman, Chair of Unison's Health Service Group Executive, and I promise you that I will challenge and speak out whenever I encounter any racism.
My name is Ben Jones, and I promise to call out and challenge racism and microaggressions, and I promise to be a proactive trans ally whenever I can.
Hi, my name is Bill Acharji. Race Equality Week matters, and my pledge is to continue supporting Black members who experience racism within the workplace and society.
Thank you. So we're going to go into our second collaborative discussion group. I think the beauty about the big promise is a lady in our group was talking about, I think it's some kind of structure within Wales about race. I got the language wrong, but it's some kind of document and protocol, etc. And there's charters. If you look at the big promises, they most probably will support the work organisations doing. And if your leaders and senior managers say, we care about race inequality, it'd be very hard, I'd suggest, for them to sort of challenge and not want to participate in this, if they really genuinely care about it. So the next breakout group, and we'll do this one for about 7 minutes, is how will you maximize participation? So how will you maximize participation in your organization? So Donna shared some of the engagement tools. If we break into groups, have a chair and go straight into it. We'll give it 7 minutes, so we'll be back in the room at 47. Thank you. Okay, brilliant. Very inspiring group I was in, so I apologize for those that weren't in that. If we just 20 seconds, put 1 or 2 liners of how we can maximize participation. Partly, I think the group I was in had some really good ideas, and hopefully we'll get some more from others. So just in the chat, 1 or 2 lines of how you engage as many people as possible. In both groups I was in, I'll share, I hear, some organizations find some stuff challenging, engaging people, etc. This is normal. The majority of companies we speak to, this is the issue. So you're not your own. That's why we're creating these things, and we'll learn from each other. So, you are not alone, but we want to change it. So in 12 months' time, hopefully, we have a different story from yourselves. So thank you all for that. So I'll hand you back to Donna for the final phase 3.
Thanks, Javed. Just check you can hear me.
Yeah.
So we've now reached the final phase 3, Javed mentioned, and the last step is all about taking action and helping people keep their big promise. So as Javed mentioned earlier, the big promise turns word into action, and that's really the key to its success. So we recommend that you follow up with colleagues a few months after your big promise day, or sort of the time when you're creating the big promise, just to see what progress has been made. And there are a few ways that you can ensure that this part of the process works. So for example, you can add promises to your objectives. You can talk about them in one-to-one or team meetings, set up buddies or small groups of colleagues to share updates and enable problem solving. And I think it is always quite interesting to check in. I was talking to someone the other day who had made a very public declaration by publishing her promise on LinkedIn, and that really drove her to drive quite significant change in her organization. So I think it's always good just to tap in and hear what people are doing on the back of their promises and keep them alive. It's always also a really good idea to obtain feedback from your sponsor and leaders about how they feel that the initiative is progressing, and also they're great people to sort of keep it alive within the organization. So next slide. So we'd recommend, and I've mentioned this before, that you have a big promise day and you schedule one sort of later in the year. Race Equality Week is a really great time to do this. So that's maybe something for the diary. And finally, the really key thing for us is that we're always looking to showcase great case studies and feature really brilliant trailblazers in all of our solutions. So please do update us on the progress that you've made. If you've got videos, if you've got pictures of people making their big promises, please share those with us. We'd love to hear about it. And that's it from me. Thank you so much. And back to you, Javed.
Yeah, thank you, Donna. Really helpful. So, and I said we'll share this afterwards to, if Donna's run through will be supportive for your organisation. So we are going to do one more final collaborative discussion group, and the topic is how will you make sure everyone keeps the big promise? So I do see this, and I'm not being glib, like New Year's Eve, when we'd all meet up with friends, family, etc. You make a resolution, go to the gym, give up smoking, or whatever it is. So, I see this, you can get real energy about the big promise, but I think it's important that we keep our big promise. So what I want to do is go into your groups. So how will you make sure everyone keeps their big promise? Okay, brilliant. Again, I think I'll be very lucky today in another great group. I think what was interesting is about motivation. A bit like we did the analogy to New Year's Eve. How do you keep people going? And Jason in our group, I'm name dropping here. He mentioned about if you go into the gym, you have a personal trainer, and the personal trainer is on your back. In the gym or Facebooking you. You weren't here last week, so I think. And actually, that's how we kind of get fit with a personal trainer. So Jason's put his hand up and volunteered to be the Big Promise personal trainer for everyone. He hasn't really, but I think it's a brilliant idea. And someone says, review it in your organization every quarter. Keep the momentum going. It's not a one-off. It's the start when you make them. So again, what might be really helpful to share again one-liners of how you can keep motivation, keep everyone making their promise. If we go into the chat and all put a one-liner next 20 seconds, that'd be great. Thank you. Brilliant. What we'll do, so we've mentioned about Race Equality Week coming. So again, a lot of organizations are seeing it as an opportunity. I think Donna mentioned, maybe you want to launch or everyone make their big promise there. This is like a good 3-4 months notice to be ready for it. So it's a really good opportunity. So we just want to show there are 3 ways to get involved: events, company owned activities, or a Race Equality Matter solution. So just want to show a quick video to sort of explain Race Equality Week to those that may not be aware of it. One thing we are also looking to do is spotlight organisations. We want to champion it. So basically, if your organisation's got some plans for Race Equality Week, do drop us a line, and we will put a spotlight and share ideas of what your organisation doing. If we get as many sharing their ideas, we can all learn from each other. Because again, today I got some great ideas from people. One thing, just in case I forget, is the concept of a quiz. Is a good way to help educate in a kind of light way and encourage more people to come to the table to talk about things. So one organisation shared that's what they were doing. So that's fantastic. So basically, we invite you and your colleagues to choose your big promise, share your commitment on social media, and importantly, keep your big promise. So we'd like to go into our final poll, if that's okay. So yeah, nearly all would recommend the event, so thank you for that. Right then, I think importantly is question number 6, 7, 8. So how confident are you being able to implement the big promise? So 57% confident, very confident, and fairly confident, a third. So that's really positive. When do you think you look to run Big Promise? Really important. Race Equality Week. So 2/3 of you there. So that's brilliant. You've now become public in being transparent and accountable for those that have gone in there. And so, really, really positive. So we hope quite a fair few will do that. Importantly, do you think Big Promise will help tackle race inequality in organizations? So as you can see, over 80% think it'll be a catalyst to change to significance. Very few think it'll have little or not at all. And as Sandra said, no pressure on everyone, correct. Do you think the Big Promise will help leaders and managers address race inequality? And I think this is one of the challenges a few of you had mentioned, 83% saying yes. So I think, this is a real tool. Now, thank you, Claire. So we're united on this. We all of us here today have to contribute to making this happen. So I think if we can all go back to our organisations, that'll be absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we've got a tea break, how to do it right workshop. So if you found this one helpful, the tea break is a very good one, and the safe space. It's all about enabling difficult conversations. The one on the left is for the whole workforce, and on the one on the right is ethnic minority colleagues and senior leaders, but they're all action driven. They are talk, but it's all about action, which is absolutely important. If you're just having talks, we failed. So I don't like failing. Next slide, please. So we're doing buddy circles. So like these breakout groups you've been in, so this will be typically 6 to 10 people, but we have an expert, not myself or Don in this case, an organization that has run a Big Promise, a tea break, or a safe space. So again, you can be in there to learn more from others that have done it, but share ideas like these breakout groups. So how we're struggling to get our senior leaders involved, or how can we promote it? Only 4 people have signed up, so it's a small community to help that. So we've got some events coming up. We may be rescheduling some of these dates because we're quite a stretched team, but we'll see where we go from that. Next slide, please. And in November, we've got 3 months to go countdown for Race Equality Week. So again, it's going to be focused on where we're all sharing what we're planning. So I know a lot of people have got some ideas, but I think the best ideas I get are from other people. So hopefully we'll have typically we get 100+ organizations attending that one with Race Equality Week. Got to be the biggest one ever. It's the second one, so hopefully that'll be okay. Next slide, please. And then sponsored by our friends Auto Trader, we have now created a Race Network Leads and Future Leaders event. So this is basically because we know in some organization you're quite isolated, you don't get the support, and it's to learn from each other, it's to learn, be inspired, and share tips. So this is actually how to run an impactful network. So you hear from Dr. Carl George, who says this is what makes a network work versus not. And to be honest, you can cut and paste for all the protector characteristics, and then Auto Trader will share their experience of how in the last 12, 24 months it's become much more impactful and what they did about it. Next slide, please. As I said, we've got 2,500 organizations now collaborating and funded by a number. slightly begging, but we are not for profit. We want to provide everything for free, and so we do need some funding to keep us going. Otherwise, we will have to, for sustainability, because we're getting positive feedback, it's good. But we will have to start charging down the line. But we just know in lots of organizations, for people like yourselves, it may be struggle to get any funding to run an initiative, even though we know it works. So so a big thank you to our supporters and funders on that. Next slide. So Black History Month, we can't change the past, we need to acknowledge it, but importantly, and you guys in the room today, you folks, we can change the future. I think it's important. Someone said the line, I love it. Let's not go back to normal because it didn't work. All right. Have a really good day. I think I'm more or less on time, which is rare for me. Yeah, I've got 60 seconds spare. Have a good day. Do drop us a line. And we'll follow up with information in about a week or so time. Hopefully the video we can share with you. You'll be able to access the promotional or the infomercial video, if you can call it that, to share with colleagues that we showed earlier. But do drop us a line, keep us in touch. We really want to hear about your successes. And thank you for your time, especially during a very busy and important Black History Month. Bye all. Thank you.
Thank you.